We've got no idea what she said, what she's done in the past, hanging out with half-naked dudes, posting pictures of a anus straining against a bikini. There's absolutely no reason to publicize any of this. If you want to watch your missus get gangbanged by black guys, that's your prerogative. It's honestly one of the most despicable and cynical attempts to Me Too someone I've ever seen. You need to be chattel property again is what you need, okay? We need to strip the vote away. Do not date mentally ill women with bipolar, borderline personality disorder. Okay, let's get into it and we'll talk about it, okay? I don't want to argue with chat about this because I'm sure a lot of you have got really dumb takes. So I saw this person, whoever this is, Hugh Cares. Indeed. Y'all aren't sharing all the Jonah Hill texts, and that doesn't sit right with me. It gets so much worse after the first one. So, long story short, Jonah Hill's ex-girlfriend on Instagram shared screenshots of interactions between herself and Jonah and claimed it was like an abusive relationship or that he was engaging in abuse, basically, okay? That's the long and the short of what's happened and as to why we've got access to these messages, okay? So yeah, Sarah H. Brady is the name of the woman in question, okay? So you'll note these messages are from 2021, and we can obviously check the other dates as we go. So this is Jonah. Let's have a look. Plain and simple, if you need surfing with men, boundaryless, inappropriate friendships with men, to model, to post pictures of yourself in a bathing suit, to post sexual pictures, friendships with women who are in unstable places and from your wild recent past, beyond getting a lunch or coffee or something respectful, I am not the right partner for you. What's the fucking problem here? What exactly is the fucking problem with this? Yeah, sometimes you're incompatible with someone because they want to go and do things that you're not comfortable with in a relationship setting. So what? Like, this happens all the time. And I can tell you what, I can explain to you, do you know what, right? It's not even like, I was saying yesterday, oh, some of these seem a bit excessive. I can explain to you the logic behind every single one of these reasons that he doesn't want this to happen in a relationship, okay? Now, that's not to say that I would have the same standards per se, okay? But I can explain to you why this might be the case and why he might be thinking these things about it, right? Okay? Really fucking simple, okay? Surfing with men. Are we really going to pretend and act like there's like no possible sexual inferences that could come from women surfing with multiple men? Are we really going to sit here and act like it's all just, oh, we're just pals, we're just palling around down at the beach, sand, sun cream, we're all half dressed because we're in our beachwear. No sexual connotations at all, no? Are we really going to sit here and act like, there's nothing there that could potentially be at least a little bit sexual that you might be concerned with as a partner, okay? Just pals, half naked, possibly making physical contact. Now again, you might not think that is fair. You might think that's excessive, okay? You might think that you wouldn't have that in your relationship, and that's fine. But can we not fucking do this kind of like feigned ignorance where we act like there aren't situations where a woman could go surfing with men and there might be some sort of unwanted sexual things happening that might bother you as a partner? Am I crazy here? Like, I don't know. Obviously, I'm not saying that every woman that goes surfing with a man is going to suck his dick. But all I'm saying is, from a partner's perspective, okay, it could be that you're looking at that and you've got concerns. And the thing is, people are picking out like one particular point in this. People are picking out one particular point in this. Clearly, there's a list of things here because there's other things that are happening. And this is the other thing that's really annoying about this interaction is we've only seen his side of it, right? We've got no idea what she said, what she's done in the past, what stories she's told to Jonah in the past, the kind of behavior she's gotten up to in the past. We don't have a clue about any of that. We don't have a clue about any of that. Oh, you're in. Okay, this is my favorite one. You're just, Jonah's insecure. You sound insecure. Oh, sorry. If I don't want my fucking partner to go down to the beach, having boundaryless friendships with men, hanging out with fucking half naked dudes, posting pictures of a fucking anus straining against the fucking bikini, I'm insecure now, apparently. Give me a fucking break with this shit, will you? It's unbelievable. Anyway, let's keep reading the messages. If these things bring you to a place of happiness, I support it, and there will be no hard feelings. These are my boundaries for romantic partnership. My boundaries with you based on the ways these actions have hurt our trust. And here's the other piece of this that I don't really understand, that we haven't seen, obviously. But this last message here, my boundaries with you based on the way these actions have hurt our trust. What has happened? What has happened here that's led him to list off all of these things that he's not comfortable with? And you can obviously pick out individual points, and in isolation, maybe you might look at it and go, that seems excessive. You know? That seems excessive. The surfing with men thing. But taken in the context of all these things that he's saying, clearly there's like behavior being engaged in that he isn't comfortable with. And he's just saying to you, hey, he's saying to the woman, hey, if you want to do this, that's cool. But it's not really for me in terms of being in a relationship with me. Anyway, then says here, see the misuse of the term boundaries. Let's keep reading anyway. Let's see if it gets worse. Come on. You make me sick. That makes me feel, and obviously we don't have any timestamps. We don't know the full conversation. We've got snapshots of a conversation, potentially from different time periods. So it makes it quite difficult to actually assess, like, what is this following on from? Why has it been cut so tightly? Why is it literally just this one here is a full screenshot of everything. This is like, looks like a full screenshot of one page of DMs, but then this here is cut off so tightly. Why has it been cut off this tightly? That makes me feel like you're testing me to see if you should keep me around or dump me because there's something wrong with me, like I'm a nerdy, dorky, unaware, naive, idiot socially. I hear you. Those are your words, not mine. Can you acknowledge that she's a professional surfer? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, okay? Doesn't matter that she's a fucking professional surfer. This is an absolute fucking red herring talking point that retarded leftoids are using, okay, to defend a woman potentially being a fucking whore, okay? That's totally irrelevant. No, it's totally fucking irrelevant that she's a surfing instructor, right? If he was saying, you can't surf, you're not allowed to surf, okay? Oh, I don't like you surfing whatsoever, then that's fine, right? I don't know what, like, clearly there are other issues here beyond just the surfing thing. People are hyper-focusing on the surfing thing because that looks like the easiest thing to put pressure on to make this all break apart. Clearly that's part of a broader picture of issues. It's not just about being a surfing instructor, is it, you fucking morons? Anyway, let's continue. So this is obviously her interpretation of something he's saying, and this is him saying, that's you thinking that, not me. Like, he clearly doesn't feel like that's what the message that he's putting across. But she feels that way about it, and he's saying, "Well, that's the way you feel about it. That's not how that's not how I feel." But obviously, difficult to interpret because again, we've only got a small snapshot. So then, Dr. Stern is the couple's therapist, and again, we don't know what time this is from. Again, we've got like half of a conversation. Obviously, these have been sent, I imagine, in quick succession. Clearly, he's agitated about something, and we've got no idea whatsoever as to what's led to this interaction, what happens after. These are all bear in mind, these are all going to be very carefully selected screenshots. And the fact that we don't see barely any in some of these of her side of it is suspicious to me. Why not? Why have we not got like more of the interaction backwards and forward with them? I can see maybe later we get some more of that so we can see. Anyway, let's read these messages. Take some accountability and operate with respect. It's that simple. Because I'm tired of your attitude towards surf culture, that contest and that place because I deserve respect. So again, we're kind of having to read the tea leaves a bit on this, okay? But this is kind of, I think, what I'm getting at, where Jonah's got a perception of surfing culture that's more sexualized than perhaps she sees it. And I've never surfed, okay? I've never fucking surfed myself, but like, I think we're kind of delusional for acting like that aren't clear and obvious, sexualized elements to surfing that exist. Okay? Anyway, I don't really understand exactly what he's saying here, but that's, I think, what he's trying to get across. Period. I've been more than patient, and then shit like this is still here. Fuck that contest, fuck that place, and fuck not respecting me always in every situation within surf culture, or you don't get it, and you don't get me. It's hurtful and unacceptable to me. Get it? I don't know if you get it or care, or give a shit about that shit more than me, even after Dr. Stern said it loud and clear. So again, it seems to me like he's frustrated because obviously you're having to put a lot in because you've got such limited fucking screenshots here in terms of the whole conversation they likely had. And I'm guessing that like he's got some concerns about surf culture and the sexualization of surf culture. And maybe she's like downplaying it, or maybe she's got a different perspective on it and is putting her point across. Difficult to tell exactly what's going on. But yeah, he's obviously agitated here because she is not respecting maybe his position or opinion on what surf culture looks like. And obviously this is something that they've discussed in couples counseling as well. So yeah, that's another good point. So we've not only do we not have the full text conversation, right? We've also got a whole other aspect of conversation in a couples therapist office that we've got no insight into whatsoever. Number one boyfriend. Again, look, cut off very tightly, so we just see 4 messages here. We don't see the before or the after. Literally just say hello and leave the combo. I love how your therapist thinks I suck. I literally am the best boyfriend on earth. Okay. Right. Here's the rest of the Jonah Hill text from Jonah Hill's ex, where Jonah Hill's insecurity shows and he tried to gaslight her. Right, what's this? Look. So again, we've got previous conversation that seems, because he's quoting something from before. I agree to everything you said, except I am not comfortable with you posting bathing suit pictures at this moment because you have not. Because you have not what? Like what? That's like, maybe it showed later. That's quite key information. Like clearly he's given some reasoning here. And whilst to you and I mean, I don't know. I think that people will post bathing suit pictures and act like it's just a bathing suit picture, but there's often an undercurrent of sexualization that's occurring as well, okay? But anyway, maybe you think, what's the problem with bathing suit pictures? There's clearly some other information here as to why he's reaching this conclusion, which we just don't have access to. Anyway, let's read on. So then he says, nor may I ever want that from my partner, and I reserve that right, and I'm open about it. So I think it seems like what he's saying here is, like, I reserve the right to, like, not want you to upload pictures, and I'm open about it. But again, without the full context, it's difficult to figure that out. Let's continue on anyway. Let me know. We'll respect you either way. We'll respect you either way. But these are the boundaries of this romantic relationship. Thanks. Literally, what? Okay, maybe there's stuff later that I'm going to freak out about, and Jonah Hill actually is an abuser. We'll see, I guess. I'd love to know before the premiere, so I'm not put in the position of publicly flaunting our love if my boundaries are going to continue to be disrespected. That would be hurtful and triggering for me. Understood. Then more here. Oh, and modeling, which is the last profession I would be with as a partner. Thought pics. Maybe that's in reference to a comment earlier, or is it in response purely to this message? Anyway. But lol, must be hard feeling so trapped. Well, maybe you should have asked me more about what I do for work before you decided to date me then. A little late now. I mean, this is a fair point, right? It's a fair point that, like, maybe he didn't have full insight into what exactly a job entailed, and now he is finding out more about it. He doesn't want to be with her. But then, yeah, that happens sometimes in relationships, right? It happens in relationships. It's like you get to know someone more on what they do, and particularly if they're doing stuff which touches on sexuality, or, there's some sort of response that they get from men which is going to make you uncomfortable, then yeah, you might get to a point where you're like, okay, this relationship really isn't for me. But if you're into it, you might want to try and figure out a way to make it work, even if it probably is a bit delusional and you can't, Anyway, keep taking me for granted. Go model. It's a fulfilling life. You'll love it. Real depth and substance to sustainability for relationships. But actually, I'm done with this convo. So, again, we got no timestamps on this. We got no prior conversation. We've got very little insight into, like, what she's saying. Clearly, he's frustrated here, okay? But why? Why is he so frustrated here when, if you look at other messages, he is a lot cooler and cooler headed, and he's saying, if it's for you, I'll respect you, but that's not for me. But it seems like here there's some interaction that has led to frustration, which has led to him saying stuff like this. Obviously, he's being snarky here, right? He's being snarky, I think, in this message. So, yeah, I'm obviously very suspicious of the fact that some of these messages seem to lack really key context for us to understand, how a passage of conversation has gone to lead to someone getting frustrated. And here we go again. Look, we got a deeply cut off message with no context before or after whatsoever. Even the person I loved and shared a bed with uses me and can't just be, yeah, you were super nice. It hurts so badly, but I'm done apologizing. I was so lovely to you. At least we've got a date here. So clearly this is later on. Those first messages are from what, 2021? This is from 31st of August 2022. Yep, like, kind of unbelievable that a man who sent me shit like this would be upset I didn't read his mind and take down pics of that once I was in a relationship with him. Holy hell, this is hypocritical. He was batshit dude, yep. So obviously Jonah is like, but hang on a sec. Doesn't this prove the point that Jonah's trying to make? Doesn't this somewhat prove the point that Jonah's trying to make? He was attracted to her off the back of this image, which is just her surfing, okay? And he's sending a heart eyes emoji and she's responding, and then they're getting into an interaction, right? Okay. Yeah, obviously he's going to think, oh my God, what if other guys are doing that? Like, that actually backs up the point he's making a lot more than I think people realize. It's just a surfing pic. It's just a surfing pic. Right, there's more here. Here we go. He went for Instagram with surfing pictures, videos, and told us to remove them because boundaries. Literally says anything with a bathing suit. Yeah. What's this? This is a warning to all girls. If your partner is talking to you like this, then make an exit plan. Love you all. Call me if you need an ear. So, what's this? Respect however you want to live your life. Your life. You only get one. Sort of done with explaining myself. 3 removed, not the video yet. It is my best surfing video. Would you feel better if the cover frame was different? Any more specific ones that bother you? Yes, one that isn't of your ass in a thong. Not a thong, but K. Sure, listen, I'm willing to accept that, like, in his kind of issues with this, it seems possible that Jonah Hill was like asking excess to remove things like this, which ostensibly don't seem to be a sexual thing. It seems more to be a surf thing. You know, obviously he's maybe looking at it from the perspective of, well, I was attracted to you because of a video of you surfing and I messaged you, and maybe he thinks that's going to be replicated. So yeah, the stuff like this perhaps could be excessive, but then again, we still don't have full insight into what exactly happened that made him act like this about it. So, you know, it could be that he's just acting, you know, irrationally asking for excessive things being done. Maybe something's happened that's bothered him that's led him to be like this. We don't know either way. But whichever way you slice it, okay? Whichever way you slice it, why does it matter? Like, what reason is there? Like, what possible, like, this is like interpersonal relationship stuff, okay? Like, does the world need to know that Jonah Hill in his private relationships is sometimes perhaps insecure in interactions with his partner? Like, it's not abusive. He's not an abusive person. He's not raped anyone. He's not done any sort of, like, you know, all he's done is said, these are my boundaries, and has arguably perhaps at times excessively enforced them. So what? If that's his boundaries, that's up to you. If you don't like that, you can leave the relationship. Does he have a fucking gun to her head saying you must be in a relationship with me? Obviously, you know, if I was a woman, might not want to date Jonah Hill because, you know, it seems like at times he can ask a bit more than I would want from a relationship. But why is it that we need to fucking, you know, pore over the details of this? And the thing is as well, is famous men in the public eye, are on like tenterhooks with this shit, okay? They're on tenterhooks with this shit. And this is like very irresponsible from her end because she's released it on the internet and Jonah Hill is like a big Hollywood actor, and now you've got mainstream press publicizing headlines talking about him being like abusive and stuff. And like, he's not abusive. He's not abusive at all in any of these. I think, you know, the absolute worst thing you can say is there is a level of intense insecurity that leads to him perhaps excessively enforcing his boundaries. That's like the worst thing that I've seen in all of this. This is the kind of thing you might send to your girlfriends and be like, oh, look, that guy was a dick. Look what he said to me. And the girlfriends would be like, oh, no, that's okay, yeah. Kind of annoying, but you're best off out of it, sister. Da, 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 da. Now you can go and have your 5-man surfer gangbang. You know, that's the sort of interaction you would expect to see off the back of this. But now But now it's, oh no, let's go to the internet and tell everyone that Jonah Hill is. Here's the other thing about it too: the fact that there isn't any actual misconduct that Jonah Hill is engaged in here, right? The fact that there isn't any sexual misconduct that Jonah Hill is engaged in, it is basically just showing all of his most personal, deepest insecurities that he's got to the world. Like, that is totally fucking despicable. That is like a really despicable thing to do. But obviously, people online are retarded. They're not seeing that part of it, and they're just going, yeah, Queen, Jonah Hill. Oh my God, what a small man. Oh, he's so insecure. Da 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 da. Oh, he's abusing you. Oh, he's gaslighting you. It's like, honestly, I find it to be like super sickening. But of course, hey, a man did something in a personal relationship the woman didn't like. So yeah. Also, hasn't Jonah Hill just had a kid as well? I'm pretty sure Jonah Hill's just had a kid with his new partner, right? I know the time is still on. We're going to turn it off now. There we go. So, yeah, this is like crazy to me. The idea that people are defending the woman and criticizing Jonah Hill to the level they are is just wild. Yeah, I mean, exactly. Yeah, she's gone and posted this all. Looks like he was right about her. Not having good respect for boundaries. Yes, one that isn't of your ass in a thong. Not a thong, but K. And as far as other pictures, you in a bathing suit, surfing or not a thong K. I'm done. There's tons. I'm just not going. I'm just going back the past month. So I didn't know the time frames on this. Oh, these look like they were posted. Yeah, these look like they were posted at around the sort of time. So there's also this as well. Yeah, he made me take this picture down. I wish we could see the original comments on it. She's actually put it back up. Look, she's put it back up on Instagram. She's put it back up on Instagram. Look, I I can kind of see where he's coming from, okay? I can kind of see where he's coming from on this, to be honest with you. I'm not gonna lie. It doesn't look on the face of it to be explicitly sexual, but like you can quite clearly see the like the underside of her breast here. Like, I can, especially if there were comments that were like being sexual and stuff. I can understand why Jonah might look at this and be like, no, I don't want this up there. I don't think it's pathetic. No, I think if you've got this issue and your partner is claiming that they care about it and they want to support you through it and they're not going to do it, then yeah. Also, how did he make her take down the photo? He asked her to take it down and she agreed. It sounds like there was a communication between the two of them. Right. God damn it, this is just chilling. What's this? You're right, we can't do surf social things or develop trust until you consider me and make decisions that give regard to our relationship. I have been vulnerable as possible. This woman is a fucking despicable, disgusting person. Honestly, she is like one of the grossest people I've ever seen in these situations. Like, just the absolute flagrant disregard for any of like Jonah's side of it and just releasing these. When he's like a Hollywood star whose image is everything. Clearly in order to like he's having to be vulnerable to get these positions across to her, and then she's just gone and leaked it all to the internet. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Some of these photos, when originally, like, imagine if you looked at this picture on Instagram, okay, and there was a load of guys doing like heart eye emojis and making sexual comments. Like, it makes perfect sense that you would go, oh, wait a second. No, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And here's the other thing with this too. Here's the other point with this too, okay? Men's boundaries and men's ideas of what they do and don't want in a relationship are treated like absolute trash every single time stuff like this happens, okay? If a woman expresses any sort of boundary whatsoever, that is treated like the fucking word of God that must be respected at all times. And if you disrespect it, you're basically fucking raping her, okay? But when a man expresses a boundary, oh, you're insecure, you're a little man. Oh, what? You don't want pictures of your wife's anus straining against a bikini on Instagram? You sound like a pathetic, insecure incel. Any single time a man expresses any sort of boundary in a relationship, it is completely disregarded, you know? And the thing is, here's the thing. I even look at some of these and I think, you know, there's some stuff here that I might not even want in my relationship per se, right? However, that's up for him and her to discuss and decide. And if she doesn't want to be in that relationship, she doesn't want to be in that relationship. And, you know, and she can walk away at any point. Like, clearly he wanted to try and hold on to it, but he had these kind of standards that maybe it couldn't sustain and it did need to end eventually. But regardless of any of that, again, there's absolutely no reason to publicize any of this, because at very worst, Jonah Hill is at times insecure and excessively enforces his boundaries. Arguably. That's it. That's the worst that he's done in all of this. Anyway, let's keep reading. I've been vulnerable as possible, and I'm telling you, I'm needing you to step up to the plate, which you can, I'm sure of it. But these losers don't get your time if you want me. Straight up, it's consideration. I respect your love of surfing, but I respect myself as well. And your love of surfing and being in those situations and lack of awareness are not mutually exclusive. So, again, we're having to kind of figure this out. We don't have the full context. I think what I was saying earlier is kind of what he's getting at here, in that, you know, she loves surfing, but she maybe doesn't see the sexual implications that exist, particularly if like men are involved, right? And I think we all can, if you're a man, you probably have been in situations before where you've tried to explain to a woman that you're with the kind of logic of a man and how a man thinks, and that her being in a situation with other men and the way those men are thinking might mean she doesn't perceive a sexualized situation, but there is still sexualization stuff happening. Because, you know, men are pigs or whatever, right? Like men are very sexual beings. So if there's a woman in a situation, okay, they're going to attempt to try and turn it into some sort of sexualized thing, even casually, you know? And I was saying this earlier as well. People focus, what item of clothing do women on Twitch wear when they do hot tub streams? You know, if you know the history of how hot tub streams came to be, okay, I'll just explain because people might not know. The reason hot tub streams became popular is you're not allowed to wear lingerie on Twitch. You can wear bathing suits and bikinis in what was called like a contextually appropriate setting, like at the beach or something like that. So in order to be able to wear like revealing swimsuits and bikinis, they started streaming in a hot tub because that was like a bit of a loophole, right? So the whole hot tub meta has come to exist on Twitch because women wanted to wear revealing sexualized clothes, but weren't allowed to just wear lingerie and couldn't just wear a bikini sat at their computer desk. Like, we are doing this kind of like feigned ignorance if we're acting like wearing a bikini or a swimsuit isn't often sexualized. And we think, oh, well, at the beach, yeah, you do. And what's the fucking meme? What's the meme of the guy in the sunglasses so he can look around at all the women without seeing where his eyes are going? Like, yeah. You know, what happens on these holidays that women go on, you know? You go to the beach with your bikini on, you know, sun cream, sand, music, booze. Like, There's a lot of sexualization in these things, and we want to act. It's like we act like it's the fucking Victorian times, and women are going to the beach wearing entire fucking outfits, and only the ankles are showing. It's not like that at all anymore. Like, just be honest with ourselves. Let's be honest with ourselves. Anyway, let's keep reading. This isn't me. I have my own issues that I own. If you want marriage and family, you can't use a 25 card. Step up and cut shit. These people don't get your time or your kindness at the sacrifice of mine. So she says here, and obviously, again, without the context, we don't know. By these people, he meant any friend of mine that he hasn't personally approved of. This is very telling, isn't it? All she got to do is leave. Yes, good point. It might shock you to know the creepy men have arrived to cape for a fellow creep. Oh, these people just disgust me in ways that I can't even fucking explain. Oh my god. Wait a sec, look, it gets better. If you're blue check right-wing men should lead, don't get the fuck out of these comments with that manosphere bullshit. This is insane and abusive. Oh, this makes it even worse. Oh, I didn't know Jonah Hill was also 39 dating a 25-year-old and pulling this shit. I need to ration myself on this shit. I really do, because I swear to God, this is the stuff that makes me want to go insano mode. Like, I don't know, man. This is like giga blackpilling as a man. It really is. There's nothing wrong with a 39-year-old and a 25-year-old, obviously. Post minor. She's a post minor. She's a post minor. But yeah, man, I mean, I gotta be honest with you. Like, you can see here, I made a mistake covering this yesterday and I didn't realize the time frames, okay? But it actually, if you think about it, it actually makes the point, because you can actually now look and see the kind of pictures she's posting without these boundaries in place. I mean, like, yeah. I don't know how to use Insta. No, I'm not a, Insta person. I wonder what the comments are like on some of these. Oh, there's barely any on this one. Just surfing, guys. What's your problem? What's your problem? She's just surfing. Come on. This is like when fucking Alinity bends over to pick something up. Okay? And everyone's like, Oh, she's just picking it up. What do you mean? Like, everyone knows what's going on. Everyone knows what's happening there, right? We all know what's going on. Anyway, it's difficult because I don't know the exact time frames for this, but presumably some of these were... There's probably some that have been deleted because he didn't like it. But, like, obviously, I'm sure that they're, you know... Like, obviously, they're, like... Perfect female figure. Heart eyes emoji. I don't know, man. Like, to me, like, you could argue that's a surfing picture. But I just think that there's definite tomfoolery happening here, okay? Okay, look, I'm not going to argue with the fucking retards in chat, okay? If you want to watch your missus get fucking gangbanged by black guys, that's your prerogative, okay? I personally think it's acceptable to have boundaries in a relationship, okay? I think it's okay to say, hey, I don't want this, and this to happen. And if the other person thinks it's unreasonable, they're in a position where they can leave the relationship, okay? No, Jonah Hill's done nothing wrong. Literally nothing wrong. He's had all of the worst aspects of his insecurities put on display for the world to see. Everyone's shitting on him, calling him an abusive monster, and he's done nothing wrong. This woman is a fucking demon, and it's honestly one of the most despicable and cynical attempts to Me Too someone I've ever seen. And rotting in hell forever would be too good for this bitch, okay? Now, apparently there's a conversation about this that I need to watch to calm myself down. So let's have a listen to this. God, it's funny, isn't it? All the fucking lefties have got, like, you know, unison lockstep takes on this. It's crazy, man. All the lefties come out. It's because, okay, this is a product of this excessive sexualization, I think, as well, that I always say is bad. But people just have got such it's porn sickness. It is fucking porn sickness, okay? It's porn sickness that the expression of boundaries over certain thirst traps, pictures, bikini pics, etc. getting posted, to not like that is seen as you're insecure, jealous, controlling. Porn-addled, porn-sick freaks, these people. Anyway, what's this conversation?
All right, your co-host is here.
Are you my co-host?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was like looking around like, wait, where?
Okay, you already did it. You put up. Hey, because if you let other people in here, you might as well just do it. It'll be good for timestamps. Okay, so you said that he wasn't controlling.
Right.
Base Tom take.
I can wait a second for Dave.
You called yourself the co-host?
Thank you for the $2, Steamer Media. Hope you're well.
Hi.
I mean, it's not like nobody can tell the difference. We're both bald, okay?
That's true. All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump back out. I just wanted to do that.
Why do you think Jonah is like this nice, respectful guy?
I thought we were all
delusion? What are you watching? What are you reading?
I live in the real world, but go ahead, virtue signal, make up a bunch of bullcrap. I'm here for
it.
Base Tom.
No, virtue signaling. Go ahead. I'm here for it.
So what I see is a bunch of conversations where Jonah is making demands or asks. You could say whether or not you think the boundaries are unreasonable or totally reasonable. Doesn't really matter. But he's making a bunch of demands. And then when she's explaining herself in multiple screenshots, he is cutting down the conversation. He is saying, okay, I'm done explaining myself. I'm not doing...
Oh my god, is Sick literally fucking brain dead or something? Like... I would have thought that after having his fucking embarrassing sex leaked, he'd have a bit more fucking sympathy to Jonah Hill in this situation, to be honest with you. But hey, what are you going to do? So here's the thing. Yes, we are only seeing a fucking small portion of the conversation. We've got no idea of the full context of what's happened. At times he seems short. The first messages we saw were in 2021. We saw later messages in later 2022. We don't know the full context that's led to that. Clearly there was friction that led to him getting frustrated. We got very little insight into what she said, okay? Right? Maybe she's said she would do stuff and not done it, and that's what's caused an issue. Maybe she's done worse than that. Maybe she's cheated. Maybe she's been, fucking about. We don't know the full context of what's happened to come to a conclusion like that, to completely, berate Jonah for the frustration in some of those messages there.
Doing this again. I'm not talking about this anymore. I'm not going to make you learn. He specifically says at one point in time, fuck, I might have lost it. Yeah, no, but there's multiple points where like there is a discussion to be had about his boundaries in respect to her because he wants consideration for himself, but that's also necessarily going to need to have consideration for her as well. So these boundaries, whether or not he has them or not, whether or not you find them valid, they still need to be negotiated. Because we're discussing this.
That's on her, though. That's on her. Yes, it is. No, that is on her. Because if he says, this is my boundary, if she accepts it, what is he supposed to do? Be like, no, you can't accept. We have to negotiate. What is he supposed to do? She accepted the freaking boundary. What do you want from him?
She didn't accept the boundary.
She did accept the boundary. What are you talking about? She did. She said, I do not need any of these things in my life. And she accepted it. And then even started saying, I'm taking down the photos. She did accept it.
No, first of all, she didn't accept everything.
She literally, he sends her a checklist and she responds to the checklist with each thing saying, I do not need this. I do not need this. I do not need or want this. That's what
Where's that from? I didn't see those messages.
She said that is her accepting his checklist one by one.
No.
Yes.
Even in the checklist she gave, there were caveats on that. And this is after a conversation where he's shutting down any discussion about his own boundaries.
So if he says, either you do this or I don't want to be with you, you think there's an issue with that?
Yes.
Okay, I see.
What is what is the issue? Some people aren't compatible. Some people have got different standards and different boundaries. And if some people's, look, it's basically a bit like a market. It's basically, a bit like a market, right? Where if you set your boundaries too strongly and it's completely different to what women broadly want, you're going to find it difficult to find a partner. Like, if your boundary is you can never speak to a man ever, even at work, that's obviously a very extreme boundary, and it's fine for you to have that, but it's unlikely you're going to find someone that's going to be willing to, engage with that, right? But if your boundary is like, I don't want you going for drinks one-on-one with a man, like, I don't want you going out to dinner with men one-on-one in a quasi-date situation. Do you know what I mean? There's like, a woman might not like that. Some people won't be comfortable with it, other people won't. And then you go and find people that, do want to engage in that sort of behavior.
Absolutely no issue with
that.
No.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem. Is that you're allowed to have boundaries, and they can be as crazy, batshit insane as you want them to be.
Here we go.
But as soon as you start saying, if you don't do this, I'm going to break up with you, that was already assumed when you have boundaries, okay? Now you're just weaponizing that conditionality and like beating it in. And also, by the way, if he's not breaking up with her, then that's just like a lingering threat that is there.
Yeah, because he's saying, I want to be with you. Here's my boundaries for my romantic relationship. And if she says, yes, that's cool, then you're not going to break up with her, are you? But obviously, if you say you don't want something to happen and it happens, you reserve the right then to break up with the person.
Yes. Okay. So you're just saying he's overstating it. That's it.
What do you mean? No, you can't.
You're saying by calling it a boundary, he's already inferring that he's going to break up with her if she does not comply.
They are boundaries. They are boundaries.
No, not necessarily. It could just be a request. It could just be something that he would prefer. It could be just something that he would like if she did. It's not always necessarily a boundary. No.
He would like her to take down those photos. You're saying he wasn't stating that as a boundary.
Yes.
So
I'm not saying they weren't boundaries.
Okay, let's just get it out of the way. Do you think when he's making those demands, that is contingent on a boundary that he's placing in the relationship.
Yes.
Okay. And then he is saying, after he's already shut down discussion, if you don't do this, I'm going to break up with you.
If he didn't say that, I would not say it was a boundary. If he doesn't say this is a boundary, or if you don't do this, I'm going to break up with you, I would not call it a boundary.
That seems pretty crazy because they're also in therapy over this shit. And they're also litigating this over the course of
the fact that they're in therapy is actually points against it being a boundary, because if it's a boundary, you don't go to therapy and negotiate these things and try to work them out. If it's a boundary, that's just the end of it. But if it's not a boundary and it's just an ask, then yeah, you go to therapy, you negotiate, you try to work things out, you have tugs and pulls and pushes and all of this other crap. But if it's a boundary, then no, it's just this is how it is and that's the end of it.
Wait, so they're not boundaries?
No, they are boundaries.
No, they're not, because Jonah stays in the relationship after he states the boundaries.
Because she says she's doing them. She keeps agreeing to it.
She's not. Even in the conversations, we can see that she's not taking down all of the posts that fucking Jonah wants taken down.
Yeah, obviously there's going to be a negotiation there, and it might be that through discussion, you maybe think, okay, well maybe I'm being a bit excessive here, or maybe it's fair that stays up, or something like that. Like, and obviously it's clear that Jonah likes this person and wants to pursue a relationship, but doesn't want to have his, wishes trampled over completely.
Well, it sounds like she's saying she is. She even says, "I'm only taking."
This is such a one-sided conversation, man. Honestly, any possible boundary a woman has, if you make the fucking thought of stepping over it, you've raped her, okay? If you make a single step towards a woman's boundary, you have fucking giga-raped that bitch, okay? It is instantaneous, giga-rape, bad. But when a woman does it, and it's a man's boundary, it's treated like a joke. It's treated like, you insecure small dick loser incel. What do you... Like, it's fucking crazy to me. It's crazy to me, the level of inconsistency at play here, where a woman's boundaries is treated like the word of fucking God to these people, but a man's boundaries is something that is to be treaded over, disregarded, and ignored. How many times have we heard a fucking twit longer because a guy, overwent someone's boundary and it's rape or whatever? It's fucking insane.
Down some, I'm still working on it. She says that. So him continuing the relationship again. I just said this with Lou. So it seems like his issue is that he was a bit naive to continue believing her time after time when she agrees to these things. But what you're just saying is that he wasn't good at upholding the boundary that he asserted. Right?
Well, he didn't. Because if it's a boundary, he shouldn't be in the relationship at all, right?
Sure,
it should have been ended months earlier. I mean, even when she was trying to make the, actually, I don't know if this is Jonah and Sarah talking or Jonah and somebody else, but when somebody's sending Jonah pictures of examples of women in different, so one was a bathing suit picture and one was a pregnancy picture, asked if he would consider these inappropriate or if he would date women who had pictures like this up. He says, I wouldn't be with either of those women. Mm-hmm. But the problem is that he gets into the relationship with Sarah knowing and also complimenting her fucking swimsuit photo. So there's some disingenuous nature going on anyways.
But it's not necessarily disingenuous. He can be naive about the scenario.
Naive about what?
So one, he may not know what it's like to have a bunch of other guys talking about your girlfriend's butt, actually having pictures of it, having posters of it, having screensavers of it being on the internet, seeing the comments firsthand of what people are saying right under there, them hitting on her, them saying really inappropriate stuff about her, your friends talking about it.
Jonah Hill is?
So, okay, this is the thing, right? And this actually all starts to make a lot of sense when you understand the dynamics behind this, right? A woman's boundaries are considered to be for their physical protection generally, right? Very broadly speaking. But often the kind of boundaries they put in place will often, and the ones that are discussed publicly at least more often, are physical boundaries that are there ostensibly to protect themselves from some sort of sexual assault or rape or something like that, okay? Now, broadly speaking, yes, obviously men can get raped, but we don't perceive men's risk in the same way. Often the boundaries that men put up are emotional, to protect themselves from emotional damage, because generally speaking, that is where men are more vulnerable, broadly, is being emotionally hurt by something, right? But of course, because men's emotions aren't dealt with seriously and aren't taken seriously, okay, that's why men's boundaries get run roughshod over so much and disregarded and criticized for being incel, creepy, obsessive, possessive, because it's about protecting, you know, your emotional self. And we just don't really put much value. We put a lot of value in society in protecting women's physical well-being, but we don't put as much value in protecting men's emotional well-being. So I think, to me, that is why you have it where you don't have the respect for men's boundaries as much, because generally they're to protect emotional damage against a man, and we don't really care about emotional damage against men in society. You know, I think that goes deeper as to why this kind of happens the way that it does. And it's annoying, obviously. And then also, the other thing on top of that as well is, by releasing this, she is just basically taking a fucking knife and jabbing it right into the heart of his most innermost core emotional and relationship insecurities, right? Like, he's there saying, laying it out very plainly, this stuff makes me feel bad, you know, this stuff makes me worry you'll cheat on me, to put it simply. Obviously, we're reading a bit into it. You know, so she's even taken it a step further where, you know, she's then released all of this. So now everyone is looking at Jonah Hill and fucking taking the piss out of him for having a level of emotional and, you know, romantic insecurity. It's just, honestly, it is despicable. And if you're a man out there, I would imagine you probably know exactly where I'm coming from with this. I think there are some women that are able to be sympathetic to the situation. And obviously, much respect to those people. But there's other women out there who, you know, are just complete bitches. They're just complete fucking bitches. So they're going to look at this. They're going to clap along. They're going to clap along the fucking woman in this and be completely disrespectful and disregarding to, like, what the man is going through and the consequences that could come at him from these messages being released.
I think he's my age.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he's been in show business for a long time. Mm-hmm. He's been skinny for a long time. This isn't the first hot girlfriend he's had.
I don't know how many girlfriends he's had, but
he's been with a few women before.
Okay.
I'm just saying, for him to say he wouldn't get with women of certain types of photos, and then get with Sarah, and then expect her to mold her entire life around him, but then we don't see any conversation happening.
We say mold entire life. At one point, yes, she says, you know, aren't you kissing a girl in the movie? And he says, that's work. That's different. So it seems, because the only time she ever calls it her job is in text messages with somebody else. But with him, when he states that it's different because it's his job, she does not reply, well, that's my job too.
Okay, I don't actually know. I mean, is she actually like a professional surfer?
I think she's a professional surfer. The difference is what, like, taking pictures of, and like how the pictures are taken, where they're taken from, the parts of your body that are like that is what we were talking about earlier, is that like almost every picture is from behind the ones that he sent.
It feels like there's this kind of you know, it feels like this kind of double standard, this is like game happening where it's like, oh, you know, I'm a surfer, but like the kinds of things that she's having to put up allegedly, according to a job, are very sexualized images, you know? And also, right, again, there's more cope here, because Jonah Hill being topless in a movie is not being viewed in a sexual fashion the same way that she putting up a bikini pic of her surfing is. Like, I hate this, like, fake ignorance that we have to do, where we have to act like women are sat there looking at Jonah Hill, fucking, you know, having a sexualized response to her, the same way that men are looking at her pictures in a fucking bikini surfing. It's just not the same. We know it's not the same. This shouldn't be a point of fucking argument or point of discussion, because it's so fucking obvious if you're honest with yourself and honest with others, okay? This is not the same thing. I don't watch all of Jonah Hill's movies, okay? I don't know if the characters he plays generally do these kind of sexualized thing or even kisses women or anything like that. Normally, he's like kind of a figure of fun side character type person. I know he's lost weight recently, and that probably is having an impact on the roles that he plays, but I just don't think there's any sort of anywhere close to the same level of sexualization to anything that Jonah Hill is doing on screen as it is with like these surfing and these pics, you know? But yeah.
They're from behind her with her bent over, and she has like a wedgie and a bunch of them, like, yes, surfing, while surfing, yes.
Yes, surfing.
So like, yes. So like, most girls are surfing in like bodysuits. She's surfing in bikinis with wedgies.
I think
Have you
it's
ever
a little
seen
rich to say.
Competitive surfing before?
Yes. Competitive surfing is different than natural, like just surfing for fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even family photos have women in bikinis.
No, wait, hold on. We were talking about whether or not she is an actual professional
surfer,
right? So we're
wait a second. Are we really trying to now argue that a woman who's in a bikini in a picture with her family, when her kids are like literally there in front of her, okay, are we going to try and say that's the same as a picture of a woman on a surfboard that you can see her ass? This is like this kind of like fake ignorance. You know those are different. You absolutely know there's different things happening in those pictures. You know there's a difference between a family photo and a first trap.
Talking about
like even the photos he's complaining about are like contextually appropriate. They're not sexual in nature at all.
Hold on, that's different as to whether or not it is her job to wear that thing, right? This is when we're talking about whether or not it is her job. This is what we're talking about, okay?
So she could have photos of her surfing in a wetsuit because it's her job. But if she's in a bathing suit, then all of a sudden gloves are off. We have to start respecting Jonah Hill.
Well, so if Jonah Hill kisses another girl, yeah, sure. So if Jonah Hill kisses a girl in a movie, it's okay because it's his job. If Jonah Hill kisses another girl out on the streets just because he wants to, yeah, now it's a problem because it's not his job.
You realize the difference is that it's totally socially appropriate to wear a bathing suit out in public. It is not socially appropriate to cheat on your partner with another person.
Hold on. What is cheating? Cheating is you breaking the boundaries of your relationship.
Well, they're in a monogamous relationship. I think we can assume the bounds of their relationship is that he wouldn't be able to kiss another woman if it wasn't for his job.
We don't have to assume. He stated the boundaries in those text messages right there, saying that those were his boundaries on the relationship. So we don't have to assume anything about these boundaries. Well, but the point is that when we say you cheated, you're making that sound like that's totally different than breaking a boundary that somebody places on a relationship. That is what cheating is.
Not necessarily. No. I'm sorry. I'm not going to conflate all boundary breaks with cheating. Okay.
We're not conflating anything. We are saying cheating is breaking the boundaries of your relationship. So like so when we say like monogamy, right? We're not just saying, because monogamy is talking about like how many people you have sex with, right? We're not just talking about having sex when we're talking about cheating, are we? No, we're talking about breaking boundaries on the relationship. We're talking about doing things that you consider to be intimate parts of your relationship that you do not want shared with other people. That is cheating.
Okay, let me ask you a question then. If me and you, Tom, had a gay relationship and you said I can't post pictures of myself in a bathing suit surfing on Instagram, and I accepted that boundary, but then I posted a picture of myself in a bathing suit surfing on Instagram, would you go to other people and tell them that I cheated?
No, I don't think that that's like generally what we're
This is why I'm saying I don't want to conflate boundary breaks with cheating.
Hold on. I don't
also,
think
I mean, the problem you've got here as well is by making it about men, you are completely removing the context of like often women are sexualized in society. In some cases, even when they don't want to be, right? But like, obviously there's a big difference between, listen, if we could change it and change societal standards, fine. But at the end of the day, people are going to view a picture of a guy surfing in a very different sexual context and connotation to a picture of a woman surfing, even if they're wearing like, I mean, if they were both wearing shorts and they were both topless, that would be viewed in a very different way, right? But yeah, I don't think that really gets to the heart of what the issue is here. But by the same token, like, yeah, that's not cheating per se, but there's definitely, you're definitely, going against the principles that you've laid out in a relationship.
That's generally what we're communicating when we say the word cheating, because we do make it just about the sexual parts, because other things are very different per relationship. But we are not, it doesn't change the fact that cheating is just breaking the boundaries of intimacy set on your relationship.
Could you cue this VOD live till tomorrow so I see a watch the entire stream after work? I've got to leave, just keep it unlisted. I love the stream.
Thank you very much for the 1337. Yeah, I'm hoping to, only gets taken down if there's a copyright issue, if there's a content ID thing, but I don't think we're watching anything today that will be a problem, so you should be able to watch it.
Relationship.
Hey, I'm not here to get into a semantic debate about cheating. I'm just saying.
It's part of the problem with your thought process on this, is you haven't thought through the semantics of the words that you're using for the problems that you have with this.
No, it's to say there's a difference between a boundary that you have for the self, but then we have this idea of monogamy that is like a concept that is generally like pretty well constructed as far as like what we recognize the bounds for.
Yeah, this is annoying and dumb. I think I'm done with that. But if you want to watch them argue, it's on Tomfoolery stream. Okay. Am I missing something here? They were talking about messages that I don't think I've seen. I got it off of a tweet. Maybe it's time for you to be clearer with me about what your boundaries are regarding how I spend my time when I'm not with you and how much change you expect me to make in my life compared to how much you're making in yours. I've had serious relationships before and I've never had a boyfriend be so particular about how I spend my time and who with. You literally asked me this morning if it's okay for you to kiss a gorgeous, intelligent, talented, accomplished single woman on camera, and I said yes because I love you and I trust you, and I trust that you love me, and that this won't change that, and that you'll be professional. It's a scene at work with hundreds of people around, not the vibe as First Point culture. Okay, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, that sounds bad, but like, if she could have said no. She could have said no. She could have fucking said no. What if she doesn't like it? Why is she bringing it up if she's happy with that? Like, it sounds like, oh, Mr. Hypocrite over here. But he asked her. He asked her if, you know, if and she said yes. Why did you say no? How are you bringing this up as an issue? Obviously, your boundaries are different to his. Just say no if you don't like it. You don't get to say yes and then go, oh, what about me? Yeah, obviously, if you don't have a problem with it, that's fine. But if he's got a problem with something you're doing, you either say, okay, I'm willing to accept that, or you say, well, no, I want to do that, and I don't want to be with you if that's the case. Was this for you people, the one with the CGI kiss? Yes, I only found out they did a CGI kiss after the movie came out. When he came home from work that day, he told me the whole set decided he didn't need a kiss for the movie. That's hilarious. It looks so bad people have made YouTube videos about it. So what is happening here then? So that then turned out to be they did a CGI kiss. Well, I never looked at it as a fairy tale like relationship, but more like a relationship with someone just as deeply fallen and beautiful as me. And definitely looked at it as the most complex relationship I've ever had. Yeah, it's totally helping to share this way, so I don't have to fit in everyone individually. So I'm not alone in my perception of the relationship because of who he is, and just because people, how they are, people make assumptions. Oh my God. Okay, the other... Doesn't this just say it all? This is about vengeance. This is about fucking revenge. This is about hurting Jonah Hill. God, these people are disgusting, man, honestly. Do you think Jonah will respond to all this? I hope not. I don't want to talk to him. He scares me. I just hope all this information reaches the people in his life who need it the most. What a fucking bitch. People sliding into the DMs to say how base she is. Girl, keep sharing your truth. You're a badass for speaking up. I'm like, oh, so the misogynist is Yes, we are, you stupid bitches, okay? You need to be fucking chattel property again is what you need, okay? We need to strip the vote away. We need to get you back locked away in the fucking kitchen, okay? Under threat of a beating if you don't make the fucking dinner on time. That's what we need. Fuck this shit, man. Honestly, what the fuck? I honestly despise these people with every fibre of my being, okay? Damn, yeah, Press had called me a surf instructor since we started dating, when I've never been a surf instructor. Just a semi-pro surfer and lawyer to be. What? Everyone was going on about how surfing is a fucking job. I thought she had to post pictures of her ass out on a surfboard because she was a fucking, you know, a surfing instructor. Now we turn down jobs for other brands. At the start, he complimented me and flirted me over the same surf pic he let called an ass shot and was angry I didn't take it down. I mean, to me, the fact that he was attracted by that is probably why he was bothered about it being up. And again, you can say no. You can say, I'm not taking old pictures down. I'm not taking old pictures down. No, thank you. Yeah, I'd love to see some proof of the turning down job shit. As I have bipolar type 1 myself. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. There it is. We found it. We found it, guys. Do not date mentally ill women with fucking bipolar, borderline personality disorder. Men, do not fucking do it. You will get fucked every single time. Do not do it, okay? Do not fucking do it. Unless they're on a very heavy regime of fucking treatment, do not do it. I need to move on. I need to move on. I can't speak on this anymore. It makes me too mad. It makes me too angry. I can't speak on it further.